knows that I got nothing left to lose. Broken and bruised, black and blue, still on the move. And I'm showing the world I still got a lot more to prove. Now I'm coming out swinging for your throat in the ring. Standing there bleeding, yeah, you know what I bring. Know what I mean? Dark when the bell is rung, cause it's a little too late now to tell me run. You're broken every part of me. I'm putting it up, baby, down. I keep rising higher, higher, higher now. Don't fuck with me. Never gonna hold me down. I keep rising higher, higher, higher. The world can't stop me now. Calm before the storm. I was born for more, now you got me ready for war. Remember my name, everybody out of my way. Back up or get knocked out, this ain't a game. Cause I never stay down when they push me around. See the world stand up when they give me the crown. Now it's go time, do or die, dead or alive. You can try to kill me, but I will survive. I will survive. You're broken every part of me. I'm putting it up, baby, down. I keep rising higher, higher, higher now. Don't fuck with me. Never gonna hold me down. I keep rising higher, higher, higher. The world can't stop me now. You can't stop me. Can't stop me. No, 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 you can't stop me. I'm bloodied and I'm beaten down. I keep rising higher, 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 higher. You've broken every part of me. I'm putting it up, baby, down. I keep rising higher, higher, higher now. Don't fuck with me. Never gonna hold me down. I keep rising higher, higher, higher. The world can't stop me now. Can't stop me, no, can't stop me now.
What's up, all y'all trickly bastards, and welcome back to Ale Train Fighters. As always, I am Athen. I almost said as always, I'm Don.
Oh, he's Athen. I'm Don, or I can be Athen. I mean, it's fine. Oh,
We could trade places if you want. I'm okay
Right.
with that. So, but yeah, so it's a whole new week, a whole lot more news and stuff. So,
yeah.
how's your week been so far there?
Yeah, just kill me. Like I'm done. I quit. I give up. I'm gone. I'm leaving you guys. We'll see you. Just go on to the great ether.
Right. So yeah, my week's been a little interesting. I moved, so we got into.
Oh yeah, you did move. So how is all that?
Yeah, it's working out. We're here. We're in California now, so we got Mickey Severson in the comments there. Man, I love you some alley train fighters. So we ain't training in an alley there. We trained with ale. So also, if you guys are listening, let me know how my audio sounds because I'm trying something new today. So, but let's go ahead and roll into a story right quick. I've got a few things to be able to talk about. Let me get to them. All right, so go ahead and bring this story up. I am fumbling here a little bit. All right, share screen. Share your screen. Entire screen. That one, and I'll share audio. All right. So now we've got this up. I'll go ahead here. Oh, I didn't actually push the button to show it. Right? There it is.
There you
All
go.
right. So my audio sounds audio-y. All right. So
Yeah, it's a little bit of a tin can there.
a little bit. Yeah, I'll have to work on that. I don't know. It might be because echoes. I'm not sure. We'll figure it all out eventually. But
Right.
at least we don't have to worry about anytime I touch my mic boom raping everyone's ears. So,
Yes.
This first story for today is going to be Riot will start recording Valorant voice chat to Reddit talk to players. So oftentimes, I don't know about you, Don, but I know when
What's
I've
up?
played lots of online games, especially in the shooters and your survival genres, you
Uh-huh.
have a lot of toxic people that are on the mics and all that stuff. And people report people for a lot of that oftentimes, and it just never gets fixed. Kids are still gonna be kids and act like all that.
Yeah,
So.
and like cancel culture nowadays. I mean, that seems like the way to go.
Mhm.
And like you see memes about it like online. I think like what was it? I saw one where it was like somebody was reported and like their comment was like macaroni and cheese isn't even that good.
Yep.
So I mean
It's just
we're in like cancel culture trolls, people that just want to just give grief on everybody else. So
yep. And gaming just seems to be one of the most toxic environments there is right now. But
yeah,
Riot
one of them.
Riot has decided that they're gonna go try to take a fix to that toxicity by recording voice chat so that when someone gets reported, they can go over the comms of like, yeah, this dude's being a douche. So, but it says Riot will start recording voice chat in Valorant for the purpose of moderation. The company announced today there won't be a way to opt out other than not using voice chat. We know disruptive behavior using our voice chat is a concern for a lot of players, and we're committed to addressing it more effectively. The developer said, in order for us to take action against players who use voice comms to harass others, use hate speech, or otherwise disrupt your experience, we need to know what those players are saying. It's no secret that multiplayer games can be nasty spaces. Toxicity constant in is a constant in every multiplayer shooter I play, and Valorant is one of the worst. During its pre-release beta, a Riot UX designer tweeted a video of the harassment she'd been receiving in Valorant. Replying to the tweet, Valorant executive producer Anna Donlan committed to finding long-term solutions to help curb toxicity. So that was a year ago. Today, Donlan addressed the new voice chat recording policy in a series of tweets. There is a major problem in competitive gaming culture right now when it comes to voice comms, she wrote. If you don't know that, then you likely haven't suffered the type of abuse in game that many people suffer, or you just don't care. I read and listen to the behaviors people report. I hear it myself in games. Stop telling me to just mute. How about the abusers just mute themselves? This is a meaningful step, one of many we'll all need to take. Voice chat recording will only happen in Valorant for now, but the new privacy policy allows Riot to do the same in League of Legends or other Riot games if it chooses. Riot says it will not actively monitor voice comms, but will record and play back voice logs in response to reports of voice abuse. You can technically opt out of being recorded, but you'll have to turn off voice chat altogether to do that. Not something you want to do in a team-based first-person shooter. That demands coordination to win. If Riot does act on a report against you and reviews your voice logs, that data will be made available to you and then deleted after the report has been closed, similar to how the company currently handles text chat. So there's a little bit more to that. We could probably get into that. Did want to kind of talk on it a little bit. So
Right.
it's like we were saying, it's the toxicity that we have in gaming is just horrible. Like, and I've never actually played Valorant myself, so I don't know what level of toxicity you have there. But just from playing, like, even the most recent Call of Duty, just the amount of young kids, like it seems like you'll have kids like 12 years old, 13 years old in there, just being some of the most horribly toxic people you've ever listened to in your life. So I like
Right.
this.
Yeah, but when like a 12-year-old does it, like you can only take them so seriously. So
True, but I do think that probably is a lot of the toxicity that people are going through. But you even have like older people, because I have seen people that are just sweaty and they're just trolling and being generally toxic.
right.
So
And yeah, I mean, I've seen that too. I mean, not really in a competitive aspect, but I mean, like I've seen and experienced like people that just like um they just want everybody to hate them. Like they just want to be this person where like they're just either being super annoying or like playing music or they're just like shouting at everybody. And then like your article made like um a perfect example where when somebody goes off on that, they just like, well, if you don't like it, just mute me. Which I mean, why not? Like, why is that like such an issue? Where it's like, if you don't like something, well then mute them so you don't have to hear them anymore. Is that so much of a problem? Or are they getting more on the principle where it's like, oh, you shouldn't have to? Well, the world isn't always nice, so sometimes you have to make the little bit of extra effort in order to say make it a better place for you. And they have that option to like mute other people. So I mean, yeah, if somebody's like going off, if somebody's like being too try harder, if somebody's being too toxic, I have no problem muting them. Or if they're like playing music, blasting in through like their microphone, it's like, yeah, okay, mute, done. I mean, it's like I have nothing to worry about. It's like it's not that much stress for me to like take what 5 seconds to mute somebody.
Yep.
I mean, in some games, they make it like that like very intuitive, I should say, in order to like go through. Oh, you can like mute your entire team in like the press of like 2 buttons, or a single person in like 3. Well, depending on if you have to like scroll, right? But I mean, it's not like they're hiding this option between like behind like menus and stuff, making it a pain. So it's like, oh no, I actually have to do it. Kind of like, oh, I actually have to wake up and go do something. And it's like, well, I mean, yeah. I mean, if you don't like it, just mute them. But
and I'm the same way. It's like unless I'm actually playing a game with someone that I actually know, typically I don't even use voice chat for those reasons.
Right.
And I have no qualms to just mute people. Like the second they start to sound like they're going to be an annoying person, it's like, okay, I obviously don't need to have comms from you. So we're just going to end this here. So
yeah, I mean, it's like, what's the point of like, continuing this line of dialogue?
So I'll go ahead and finish this article out real quick, and then we'll move into something else. All right, so it says recording voice chat is uncommon in video games. Every major multiplayer game logs text chat. Voice chat has typically been unregulated and can become a real cesspool for it. Considering the PlayStation 5 can also record and moderate party voice chat, the practice may become increasingly common. It has always stuck out to me that for as much lip service as developers pay to punishing toxicity in his games, voice chat has been left alone despite potentially being more harmful than text chat. Until now, game operators have effectively been monitoring only half of the ways that players can abuse each other. Knowing that Riot is recording my voice doesn't feel all that different from the expectation I already have that anyone can be recording my multiplayer match and my voice at any time. So far, the response from players has been positive from what I've seen. Along with this major change, Riot says it's exploring other approaches that it believes will improve in-game interactions. And that was the rest of the article, it looks like. So, yeah, I think I'm about the same there. I think it's a good step. I'm not going to feel too concerned about it being recorded because I don't ever do anything that I feel like I should be embarrassed about saying when I'm playing games. So,
right.
And on the comments over here, we had April Mueller checking in. She was actually listening to the radio show on Friday, and she had a question on the show that I told her would actually probably be a better question for one of these shows. Sorry, my memory is not the greatest, and I can't remember what the question was. But if you would like to go ahead and pop that into the comments there, April, we'll address it if we can. So, and moving forward into the next story, we've got not in Discord. It's in. All right. So, jumping into this next story, it's about Ratchet and Clank. Did you know that they have another Ratchet and Clank game coming out?
I think I heard that they were like in talks for it. I mean, is that the one I'm thinking of? I don't think I was too much of a fan for Ratchet and Clank. even like I think it was like Ratchet and Clank and then like Jack and Daxter. Like I might have played like Ratchet and Clank or like the place. It was either that or Jack and Daxter. I can't remember because like they're so similar. It's like one protagonist and then like another. I don't want to call it like a buddy, but like a follower. We'll put it like that. That like helps you out. So it's like you and like a sidekick, and it's like, and then it's like a platformer type shooting, like, not really like Crash Bandicoot, but like yeah. So they're very similar. So I get them like mixed up. But yeah, I didn't know that they were gonna. I mean, I think I heard like they were in talks for one of the two, but I haven't heard much past that.
So I actually hadn't heard anything until this article came across my notifications. But
Right.
I never played the Dak and Dexter game. I did play Ratchet
Right.
and Clank a little bit. I was never really a huge platformer type gamer though, so
Right.
they always kind of got redundant to me. But
Mm-hmm.
we'll go ahead and go on this. So Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. That's the name of the new Ratchet and Clank game. It says looks gorgeous in new PS5 gameplay, and photo mode is confirmed. So today, Sony held, and this article's from 3 days ago, so today was 3 days ago. Today, Sony held another State of Play presentation, this time primarily focused on Insomniac Games' upcoming PS5 exclusive Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. The gameplay footage showed off some of Ratchet's new moves, such as his dash and wall running capabilities, as well as gameplay of newly introduced Rivet, a female Lombax who players will also get to control. The two of them share an incredible arsenal of weapons and gadgets, with both new gear and returning staples of the franchise. All of these guns and tools are designed to feel unique due to the implementation of DualSense haptic feedback and adaptive triggers. Insomniac Games is harnessing the PS5's solid-state drive speed to load entire levels every time a dimensional rift is open. It's not just a simple arena swap. So, and it sounded like they're with the solid-state drive that the PS5 has. They're trying to go to like a no loading screen type of thing. Is what it almost sounds like. Finally, the presentation almost confirmed the inclusion of a photo mode, so you won't have to stress about how you're taking the perfect show. You can check out the new gameplay footage in its entirety below. There is a video there. The two indie titles were also shown during the State of Play presentation. First up is Subnautica Below Zero, which is coming to PS5 on May 14th, 2021. It's targeting 60 frames in performance mode with DualSense implementation for the icy environment and fearsome foes. Finally, PlayStation is getting super sus as Inner Sloth's hit Among Us is coming to PS4 and PS5 at some point later in 2021. And will even feature a Ratchet and Clank outfit exclusive to Sony console version of Among Us, though no exact release date or any other details such as crossplay were given. So those ones are actually pretty good ones. I know Subnautica is actually a pretty fun game, and I might want to get a PS5 just so I can play that. So, but if you want to be able to check out this video and all that stuff, I'm not going to play it because I don't want us getting any copyrights or anything like that. So I'll go ahead and link that in the comments so you guys can go check that out if you want to. So any input from you there, Don? You're muted, by the way.
I'm trying to think. I was like, so like, why is Subnautica being released like so late? Right.
So the Subnautica one, it's actually like I guess you could say expansion. It's not really quite a sequel, but it's not the original. It's not the original Subnautica. And
okay.
Also with that, I know at least when I played Subnautica, it was still a pre-release, so it may actually be full release now. And so that's all I know on that. So
because I've had it on like Game Pass for a while, so I don't know if it's like a Windows thing, and then and they're like just trying to, be more exclusive with these, not really exclusive, more or less share these rights with each other, PlayStation and Microsoft, because the show, which is like a baseball game, like PlayStation like best baseball game that they got, like that's been like a PlayStation exclusive for like the longest time, but all of a sudden it's now available for Xbox, right? and just Xbox. I don't think PC. And like, so you've never had that before because it was PlayStation exclusive, and here it is on Game Pass. So here I get to play it for basically free. I mean, minus the subscription fee, and I was like, I love that game. So if that's happening, and then so it makes more sense that, you know, now Subnautica is also releasing, you know, to PlayStation as well. If it was a Microsoft exclusive type game, I mean, I mean, it's all on, you know, the companies of PlayStation, Microsoft, whether or not they're willing to share, you know, because the game companies, I mean, yeah, they also want to hit their sales and they want as many people to like be able to play their games. But sometimes PlayStation's like, well, yeah, we'll distribute your game, but you only have to do it to us, or Microsoft will do the same thing. So and then the game companies have to go with the best deal possible, and take that avenue. However, I mean, as a consumer, I want to see, like, you know, as many options as possible with the means that I have, right? And since if I'm using Microsoft, if I'm using Windows, and if I'm using Xbox, I mean, yeah, I would love to be able to play these games on those platforms. But Athen, you have a PlayStation. I'm pretty sure that you would love also to see you have the same ability to enjoy those games that I enjoy on your platform, and they're not being like an exclusive thing where it's like, oh, I have to play this on this platform, which it was like what they called, what was it? It was like the key term for like the console wars, like this ever competition of you know, all these companies like going after each other, where it's like, oh, everybody play Halo. Like Halo's like this whatever game. Oh, but you can only play Halo on Xbox, and like our Halo is better than whatever PlayStation had as an exclusive. Did they even have an exclusive at the time? They had Killzone on PlayStation.
And there was Final Fantasy used to always be a PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah. And so they would just like compete with each other, but it's like, you know, we just want to play games and have fun. It's like we can care less about all that, like, you know, the drama between distributors and companies.
Exactly. And I think it has a lot to do with in the earlier period of like your consoles and all that stuff, gaming. You had kind of, that was the way to do it, because, you know, you had fanboys for this console, you had fanboys fanboys for that, and they'd all go that direction. But now things are starting to get more linked in and tied together. You know, 9 out of 10 of your games that you have out there have some sort of online element to them. So I think the whole industry is kind of moving more in the direction of general crossplay. So it's just like being able to have your preferred platform of choice and be able to play with your friends regardless of what they're using. So, and that's kind of why I like the whole, how I have my PC and I have my PlayStation. It's like I've got the PlayStation, I can play PlayStation games. I've got my PC, I can play pretty much any game that's on Xbox, and also, you know, computer games.
Right.
So and I'm happy with that kind of layout there.
But here's a question. Do you think with the events of this past year of like quarantine and pandemic, you know, levels, do you think like crossplays actually become more of a thing, where like companies are just trying to get as much as they can on revenue and consumers, knowing that they don't have any consoles available, or the consoles that they have out they can't keep up with stock, right? So they're like constantly sold out. I mean, can you even still buy a PlayStation 5 that came out like what, months ago?
I honestly, in the amount of the times that I've actually checked to get a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox, even for that matter, they've been sold out every single time I look.
Right. So, and so do you think crossplays become more of a thing because, you know, people are stuck at home, or people are stuck at home, people are trying to save their money, and it's like, oh, we want them to buy a new game, but it's like we can't really attempt to psychologically force them into buying a new console if people are trying to save money, or we can't actually keep up with demand for them to buy this.
Mhm.
So what do you think about global climate on, pandemic and quarantine, on how crossplay is being affected?
I actually think it might have had an effect on it, like actually kind of pushing it forward, especially
Right.
with the amount of games you're seeing coming out that are crossplay. It's like a lot of your games that are coming out now are implementing that. Like I keep using it as an example, but Call of Duty, the newest Call of Duty is fully crossplay on that. And
Right.
then you have other games like Ark. That was, they called it crossplay, but it really wasn't. You could play it
Right.
on all platforms, but all platforms couldn't play with each other. And then
Right.
it moved to Atlas, which was actually full crossplay, as
Yeah.
long as you were playing on a actual official server. And you have games like Among Us, which that's not a difficult game to make a crossplay because it's real basic. But that's
Right.
crossplay with everything. You can play on mobile, console, or PC and play with anyone doing it. I think you can do that with Black Ops also. I think Black Ops you can play mobile with the other platforms, but I'm not 100% certain on that. But I honestly,
Right.
Hmm?
I
What were
said,
you
yeah,
gonna
no, yeah. Yeah, I was agreeing with you. And it also kind of depends on, like, because with mobile game crossplay for everybody else, it's like you can't exactly have, the most intuitive game, or a game that like requires like um fine detail of controls, like say a shooter,
Mhm.
or like even a racing game, because like, yeah, mobile games will just get their ass beat because I mean, you just can't compete with that. Like I've seen
Mhm.
like just videos of like people that have figured out a way to hook up a controller to their phone and play like Call of Duty Mobile and just like wreck the entire lobby. So
And actually, I have heard about that. People can hook controllers up to their phone and just freaking rock out with them, which I think
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
you're not supposed to at all. And like the game tries to prevent you, but there's peripherals, or like I think like what was it? I saw a YouTuber, the Spiffing Brit, like figured out a way to like uh get Call of Duty Mobile to play on his computer. So he's playing Call of Duty Mobile on like a mouse and keyboard, and everybody's on his phones, and he's just like destroying guys. And he's like, this is not even fair. And it's like, this was never meant to happen.
So,
So
I hadn't even, because you can do that, because you can get there's a mobile emulator you can get for PC,
right.
or you can run an Android operating system. I think it's called like BlueStacks or something like that.
Yeah, it's like that, and then there's like different ways of like connecting your phone to your computer, and then like you could basically like use your computer as like you would for your phone. So like instead of like your phone being touchscreen, like you're using a mouse to like select everything on through your phone.
Hmm.
So it's just become like a medium to like actually utilize your phone and access everything, because I know you can do that through certain USB-C connections. You can also use it through like dock stations, and like I think at work, like there's like a dock, like a hub, right?
Mhm.
So it's basically like you have this hub, and then like all your peripherals plug into the hub, and then that hub has like like one main USB-C, or like a main Thunderbolt connection, right? And then like as soon as you hook into that, everything is access to the hub. And like
Huh.
there's also ability that like with I think it's like Thunderbolt connectivity, where like you can hook in your phone, and like at work you could like pull up everything on your phone and different apps on your phone. I think it's called like Samsung Dex is like
Okay,
the app, that the actual PC app that you would use, and it's basically, yeah, you can use your phone on the computer.
huh. That's
So
pretty neat. I'll have to look into that. I bet they're
yeah, but then
expensive.
to like cheese. I mean, but is it like really worth it to like do all that just to cheese like mobile games?
Well, I'd want to do it just because I think it's
Maybe
something cool.
racing games, if you had like a whole racing wheel setup and stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
that'd
that
be the
would be
way to
awesome.
go.
So, gonna go ahead and hit the comment real quick. So April Miller, she got back, and she what she was asking about on the radio show was
Right.
she wanted to know how we got connected with WO Entertainment and how we met and all that stuff. So with Don and I, the way we met, we've known each other for quite some time.
Oh no, years, years
So,
now.
and him and I actually met through another mutual friend of ours, Josh. Him and I were in the Navy together, and all that stuff. And Don and Josh went to school together, and they grew up together. So I was good friends with Josh and
Right.
started hanging out with Don. And yeah. How we got hooked up with WO Entertainment, that was actually Cameron did that. Shelly Ritchie, King or Redneck Pimp, and Goose, and us, we were all members of Vet Radio Syndicate. They ended up
Oh no, you name dropped them.
Oh, yeah. But
I was hoping that you would avoid that.
I wasn't even thinking. But yeah, they ended up deciding they wanted to part ways with VRS and started up. Well, they already had W Entertainment running. It was their show and all that stuff. But they decided they wanted to take and foster W Entertainment and take it their direction if they wanted to go with it. Cameron had been contacted by Redneck Pimp and Goose, and he asked me if I wanted to come over, and I said sure. And we came over here, and I've actually liked it a lot more since we've been over here on WO than when we were over on the other network. So, but yeah, there's all that. So that was about Ratchet and Clank, the last story. Let me go ahead and get our next story up. So this one,
April, networking. Sometimes things just work out that way. You meet somebody at certain points in your life, and then you reconnect, and then you can actually collaborate and come up with something better.
Yep. So, but this next story we're going into, this is actually kind of more of a science type story.
All right.
Moving away from the gaming for a second. So this one is an Egyptian mummy thought to be a priest was actually a pregnant woman. So,
what?
Yes, researchers examining an ancient Egyptian mummy that they expected to be a male priest were surprised when X-rays and computer tests revealed instead it was a mummy of a woman who had been 7 months pregnant. The Polish researchers said it's the world's first known case of such a well-preserved ancient mummy of a pregnant woman. The mummy arrived in Warsaw in 1826, and the inscription on the coffin named a male priest. No examination until the current one had disproved the belief that it was a male. Marzina Ozarek-Zielke, an anthropologist and archaeologist, said, when we saw the little foot and then the little hand of the, I'm assuming that's a type of her fetus, we were really shocked. They estimated the woman was between 20 and 30 years old and said the size of the baby's skull suggested she was 26, 28 weeks pregnant. Their findings from the Warsaw Mummy Project, involving years of tests on this and other mummies at Warsaw National Museum, were published in the Journal of Archaeological Science. This is our most important and most significant finding so far. A total surprise. Team member, good Lord, Wasiak Esman of the Polish Academy of Sciences said it opens possibilities of learning about pregnancy and treatment of complications in ancient times. The researchers say the excellent quality of the embalming suggests it could have been performed well before the 1st century BC, as it is dated now. And that is that whole story. So yeah, they thought they had a priest and they have a pregnant woman. So interesting stuff.
It's like, how do you mess that up? So like, did it say like what made them think that it was a priest from the get-go?
Yeah, so the coffin that the mummy was in was labeled as a male priest. So the coffin.
Oh, okay. So it's the actual coffin itself. Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm. And I guess they hadn't really opened it up and inspected the mummy up until just recently, and at which point they're like, "Oh, there's a baby in there." So
April's chiming in saying, did you see the new find with the barrels before the time of the pharaohs and how they were bent with heads facing west?
No, I have not.
Not that I've seen in like relation to like pharaohs. I know in like some cultures, like the direction, like their cardinal directions were actually like really important. I know there's a certain concept of like feng shui, where like the way that you lay out your house has to be in a reference to like cardinal directions, like north, south, east, west, and like where you put your bed needs to be facing this way, and like I remember like, oh, once upon a time, like my mom would like tell me like weird stuff like that, where it's like, oh, your bed has to be like facing this way. It's bad luck if
Mhm.
it faces this way. And it's like she was basically telling me like a whole setup like has to be like north and south and east and west. And it's like I can't remember I want to say like heads facing west for like west is like for when the sun sets, and so that's like a reference to like death and like the departed. And so they would also say it's like, well, if your head like the head of your bed like face west, it was like actually a bad luck, and that you wanted to either face like north or east, in order for like good luck and all these other superstitious stuff. So but I did not know that it was it actually happened. That was like a thing for Egyptian cultures, and even back dating back that far.
So yeah, I hadn't heard anything about that. I'm gonna have to look that up and see if I can get some more information on it so we can discuss it like next week or something.
Right.
But I'll definitely look into that. But I was gonna say, I actually watched a video the other day. It was a story about it was actually a serial killer. It was
Okay.
in like India or something like that. So he was the village shaman, right? And he was killing. He was a serial killer killing women, so he could drink their saliva, so he could get immortality. And when he killed them, what he'd do is he'd get them to come to his house under some guise of trying to do a spell on them, so they can get beauty and all that stuff. So
Sure.
he'd get them to their house, and his wife was there, and she knew that all this was going. So he'd have his wife talk to them to calm them down. It'd be like, no, everything's fine. We do this all the time. And
Right.
then he would take them out into a sugarcane field, and he would bury them in the ground up to their head. At which point he would kill them, unbury them, take their saliva, drink their saliva, and then rebury them and position their bodies in the hole, still buried up to their head. Position their bodies in the hole so they were facing his house, every single body.
Right.
Right. And then he would cover the head up with a pile of dirt because he felt that all the women looking at him gave him power stuff. He was more powerful. And I guess it said that he killed like something like 60 women in this manner. And this sugarcane field was all filled with all these women buried like that. So,
how exactly do you harvest saliva from a dead person?
that I'm not really certain. I'd assume
Like you
once.
think, I mean, we're all thinking, I mean, I can't be the only one where it's like, wouldn't it make more? I mean, isn't that something like a fluid that's produced from like a living person? I mean, you would also be able to secrete and create more of the, saliva alive than you would dead. You think he'd like, I mean, I'm not saying that like, oh, he should have kept them alive and tortured them and like all in order to like do all this stuff. But I mean, that part just doesn't make any sense. I mean, that's just me.
The story did actually kind of address that. He killed them before he tried to harvest their saliva because he didn't want to have to deal with trying to get it from them while they were alive.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense too. But he also could have like made it like a thing in his ritual to just say, "Oh, you spit in this cup like 100 times a day," and then whatever good luck will befall you. It's probably wasn't thinking that far. Not that much of a con man.
No.
Just say, oh, spit in this cup. And then and then he's good to go. So I mean, that's more latent issues than was actually there.
This dude, just from hearing the story and all that stuff, it's like this guy clearly wasn't all there. But and this was probably 40 years ago. I think the story was told up. No, actually, it wasn't even that long ago. I think it was in the 90s is what the story was when it happened. But
right.
And this is in second or non-first world type area where they're still using shamans, like legitimately have shamans. So, and the way this dude was discovered is there were people working in the fields and they saw a pile of dirt and they poked it with a stick,
Right.
and then it started stinking. So they went and told the cops, like, "Hey, there's this weird pile of dirt out in this field." They're like, "Well, go dig it up." So they did.
Right.
And they're like, "Oh, it's a body." But yeah. So let's go ahead and move on. We went somewhere completely different with that all of a sudden. All right.
Oh, we've segued like way worse before. Don't feel bad.
Right. So we got the Mummy. Let's go into this one. All right. Let me pop up my share screen here. All right. So this one, people might be actually really excited to learn about. I didn't really know whether I wanted to put this on 1700 or this show, but I'm going to use it here. So Disneyland reopens for the first time in more than 400 days.
Oh, wow.
And this is from 2 days ago. So Anaheim, I don't know what the CDSLA is. Oh, CDSLA. Da-da-da. So for the first time since March 2020, Disneyland has reopened its theme parks. Bob Chapek, Walt Disney Company CEO, addresses cast members at a ceremony celebrating the reopening of Disneyland Resort on April 30th, 2021 in Anaheim, California. Disneyland Park and California Adventure Park opened their gates to thousands of thrilled guests at 9 a.m. Friday. Many couldn't hold back their tears. Some people got in line as early as 2:30 a.m. Holy crap. My heart is racing. It's so amazing to see everyone back, one woman told CBS LA upon entering the park. I love just being here, the atmosphere, the crowd. People are just happy, a man added. With the downtime of the year-long closure, the King Arthur Carousel was refurbished and Snow White's Enchanted Wish ride got a facelift. I think it's definitely the cast members are a huge part of that magic. They're so happy, and you can tell that they love their jobs, added Diana Gallardo of San Diego. Capacity is limited to 25%. Tickets must be purchased online in advance. Only California residents are allowed to visit at this time. The demand for tickets has been extraordinary. Disneyland's online reservation experienced major delays when it opened April 15th. So it's at 25% as far as how the capacity of it. That would actually be a great time at Disneyland. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't have to worry about any of the lines. You don't have to worry about all that. Like, because I've been to Disneyland a few times, and every single time I went to Disneyland, it's just so crowded and just took forever to go anywhere, to do anything, and it just kind of...
Dude, all those big amusement parks. I mean, Disney's the worst, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, they're the ones that were like, you know, people always say, oh, yeah, the lines are long. Oh, you can wait up to like 3 hours for like to get on a ride. And like, that's Disney. Like, unless you get like their fast pass, whatever that they have, it's like you will wait like 2 to 3 hours for like a single attraction.
Yeah.
And it's like that everywhere. And so like there's that and the crowds and like all the people and how the cost of like everything. And like, so Disney's the worst, but like Universal's like that. And like most of your theme parks too, like your,
like Knott's Berry Farm, Magic Mountain.
Yeah. Six Flags and like Busch Gardens and like all that stuff. And I was like, that's why they have like the whole fast pass thing. And like, you know, your smaller like amusement parks, you know, I mean, you're gonna get off a lot easier because you can like, I mean, yeah, you just don't have the crowds of people coming like all over the country and all over the world, you know, because there's only two places for Disney. I mean, you've got Disneyland, you've got like Disney World, and then like, I don't know, does California version Disney have like all the other parks like Florida does, like the MGM, Animal Kingdom, and like
to an extent, like Disneyland, it has California Land, which is attached to Disneyland, and then you've got a couple other small ones, but Disneyland itself is much smaller than Disney World. So
yeah,
for the most part, you're just dealing with mostly just Disney and then California Land, and then I think Universal Studios is there, but it's not part of Disneyland. And then you also
it's yes, completely separate entity.
So and then in the area you also have Magic Mountain, which I think is actually a little bit more north than Disneyland, and then you've also got Knott's Berry Farm, which honestly, if I'm going to tell you right now, Knott's Berry Farm was always my favorite amusement park, but it's like the Disneyland, however, you know, you have that air of just everything. It's an entire experience to go to Disneyland, so that's really neat. But as far as the rides and the attractions at Disneyland, I could take them or leave them. And it's like, and I've been to Disneyland, and I think the only other country I went to it in, it was Hong Kong. I didn't go in Japan for one reason or other. I don't think I've had anyone that wanted to go, but
yeah, I could have, but like, I don't know, it's just Disney in Japan. It was like out in the middle of nowhere, you know, and it's Disney, so you're dealing with like, you know, the lines and the people and all that other stuff. But like, I was never like I mean, yeah, like as a little kid, I mean, like I would be taken to like Disney and stuff, but it's like I was never like truly that much of a fan. It's like I would rather go to Epcot or I would rather go to because Epcot's attached to Disney. Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah. I would rather go to Epcot or I'd rather go to like MGM Studios and like instead of like actual Magic Kingdom. And then like now it's like I prefer Universal and then they've got like, oh, there's a trend. It's all like movie related. Yeah. So like I would rather go to like Universal and now they have like the Islands of Adventure and like I remember when they were building like the Islands of Adventure at like Universal and like all that stuff. But then again, I remember like old school Universal with like the Jaws ride and the Back to the Future ride and like what was it, Murder She Wrote soundstage and then like the King Kong attraction and Earthquake and like I remember that old school type of stuff. So
I remember going on the Indiana Jones ride when it first opened up at Universal Studios Hollywood.
oh, okay. Yeah, they didn't have that. They had like Indiana Jones stage show or whatever, where like they had like the live action bit of like, they're trying to like put on the movie and all that other stuff. And they had like the what was the car stunt show too was like Universal as well. And that's like ridiculous. I mean, as a kid, like you really don't appreciate it. Maybe I was like, oh wow, cars are like doing cool stuff. But like you get older and like you kind of appreciate like the level of skill in driving in order to do even half of that stuff is like ridiculous. And then that like they have to step up their game because it's like nowadays you can't just get around with driving backwards and drifting and then like just driving really close to each other. So like you definitely have to like step it up.
Mm-hmm. Especially with like a lot of the newer movies like Fast and the Furious, that kind of stuff. If you're watching live action cars, you're going to be like wanting to see some risky stuff. So,
yeah, but then it gets to competition begets innovation. Because you're just trying to compete to stay in there. You come up with new stuff.
I will have to say though, one of the favorite things that I remember experiencing at Disneyland though was the 4D theater, which was pretty awesome. It's like
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they'd play like I think it was like a Donald Duck or Daffy Duck freaking show or movie or whatever, and like they have air bursts that go off on your chair. They'll infuse smells into the theater. You have I even remember getting sprayed with stuff and all that. So
yeah,
it was pretty neat. That was fun. So yeah, that's a good point. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. So I'm gonna get the reads done for our sponsors and all that stuff real quick.
Right.
So let me get that pulled up. Am I still sharing? No, I'm not. All right. So this
all at it.
Make sure you check out WO Entertainment. Go to the WO Entertainment Facebook page and check out everything that we offer for you. Also check out the WO. Hey, damn it! What the hell is the name of the group? WOHQ. Words, they are so difficult. The WOHQ. Check it out there. We put lots of interesting stuff there, and we also have a lot of information that you might want to follow. So, for our show lineup that we have here on W Entertainment, we have something for you pretty much every single day of the week. All kinds of different kinds of content. Tuesdays at 12 Central, we have Where's My Girl with Roy Anthony. That is a comedy show. And you have Tuesday at 1700 Central, the WO Radio Show with Redneck Pimp and Goose and Tater. Wednesdays at 1900, you have Blue Phoenix Gaming with Jen. Thursday at 12 Central, again, we have Where's My Girl? Roy Anthony. Blue Phoenix Gaming is a gaming gaming show, so Jen will play video games and talk about video games and stuff like that. WO Radio Show is just general entertainment, news, talk type stuff. And then Thursday at 1400 Central, we have Cars and Coronas with Gapple Bay. Cars and Coronas is a car show. They talk about cars. They watch and react to supercar fails, supercar wins, stuff like that. They'll play video games with cars in it every now and then. So just generally just all car stuff. Thursdays at 1700, we have the Harambe Keeper with Mickey. That's Mickey's show. Mickey watches our show. He was on the Hideout with me on Friday. He just kind of gets on and talks about whatever he wants to talk to at the point. He likes to cover a lot of veterans issues and stuff with the VA. So go ahead and check him out. You probably won't be disappointed. Friday at 1900 Central, we have the Hideout. That's on Spreaker only. That's with me. And it's all music. We spend 2 hours playing and talking about music. Saturdays at 1900 Central, we have Hot Boxing with Matt. That is a barbecue show. Sunday at 1400, we have Ale Train Fighters with me and Don, sometimes Shay. That's what you're watching right now. And Sundays at 1700 Central, we have It's 1700 Somewhere with me and Don and also sometimes Shay. That is just a general entertainment, news, shenanigans type show. Also, make sure you're following WO Entertainment for information on Warrior Fest coming up later this year around Veterans Day. And also make sure you check out our other sponsor, OVB Barbecue. That is Matt from Hotboxing, his business, his company. And I believe that's everything. Nope, I have, if I can find it, Redneck Pimp, his comedy stuff. But that's going to get lost in here. So I can't find the literature for it, but Redneck Pimp has comedy shows that he does quite often. He's always got them being advertised in WHQ and on the W Entertainment Facebook page. So go ahead, check that out, follow, check, and all that stuff. So I do believe I successfully stumbled through the reads.
Yeah, that's one of your better reads thus far.
So yeah, so we're gonna go on to, I guess, our next story we got here.
All right.
Let me find it real quick. So I've only got a few here. So here's another story on Ratchet and Clank. I'll go ahead and just cover this one real quick since we already did the other one.
Okay.
Ratchet and Clank ripped apart pre-orders, release date, additions, bonuses, and more. So you won't have to wait too much longer to play one of the most anticipated PS5 exclusives of 2021. Ratchet and Clank ripped apart's release date on PS5 is June 11th.
That's kind of sad when like that game is the most anticipated PS5 game.
Right?
You know, not like another Last of Us game, not like Dying Light 2, Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, well, if I'm honest though, the whole PS5 and the games that they had on release, I was really disappointed with it because I was all about, I'm going to get a PS5 on release because,
right,
all that stuff. And then I looked at the games, it's not even worth it. I should just wait a year or two for stuff to kind of roll. And I do know Ratchet and Clank has quite a following. Like, I know it's one of Desiree's favorite games. So,
right.
So physical and digital pre-orders are live now, both of which come with some sweet pre-order bonuses that will surely delight longtime fans of the action platformer franchise. There's also a digital deluxe edition with a bunch of extra in-game bonuses available on the PlayStation Store. So the pre-order bonuses you get with it, all Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart pre-orders come with 2 in-game bonuses, Ratchet & Clank Going Commando. Fans will likely remember the slick Carbonox armor. The suit has been updated and will even have ray trace reflections. You'll also get the Pixelizer, a retro-infused blaster that was featured in the 2016 remake of the original Ratchet & Clank. And that's pretty much the bulk of it. So yeah, they're just putting it out, some of the pre-order stuff that you'll get. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart's $80 digital deluxe edition has a bunch of bonus goodies, 5 armor sets, 20 raritanium to upgrade gear, digital soundtrack, digital art book, photo mode sticker pack. So it's kind of your standard, here, you get these things for buying a pre-order. And
right.
I don't know, the in-game currency sounds like they're trying to make it.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things. But I don't know, because I also think like with that game, I mean they use it for like different upgrades to make the game easier or like more fun or cosmetic stuff. And I know it's just the way the things work now.
Like
Let's
having
see.
purchases for cosmetic stuff, I'm for that. That's okay because that gives you the incentive to buy stuff, but it doesn't give you a leg
Right.
up on anything. Those games that
Still, yeah. I mean, I'm just more of the, older generation where it's like, oh, if you play the game or if you do something in the game, you get a reward. Not just, oh, if I throw money at it, I can
Mhm.
get whatever thing that I want. Right.
Yeah,
Like
I've
classic one was Metal Gear Solid. It was like you beat the game, you have a choice of like what? The infinite ammo bandana or the invisibility thing, right?
mhm.
Or the invisibility cloak. And then so what do? You beat it, you get it, and then oh, now you have incentive to play the game with this all over again with this brand new item that you have. And guess what? What happens when you beat the game? You get the other item, so you can choose what you want. You
Mhm.
know,
Huh. I didn't know that part. That's pretty awesome. So, but I don't think I really ever played through much of the Metal Gear Solid games. I did a couple of them, but
right?
not a whole lot. I was never too good at stealth games.
Oh yeah, I mean, uh, yeah, it definitely helps. And like the later ones, they were more stealth focused, but like, I mean, you can run and gun through that game if you wanted to, but
Mhm.
it did, try to concentrate on stealth more. Um, let's see. I have actually got a few things.
I've got. Oh, we can skip that one because that's just free games for PlayStation Plus in May. So
I mean,
yeah,
that's actually important if anybody that's got a PlayStation.
okay. I'll go ahead and cover this one real quick, and then we can get on
Right.
to yours. This is my last story.
Oh
So
yeah, okay.
PlayStation Plus free games for May 2021 revealed. So Sony has announced the next batch of PlayStation Plus freebies, and once again, the list includes one PS5 game and two PS4 games. PS5 users can snag Wreckfest, a fun demolition derby game that originally released in 2018. Wreckfest for PS5 will be exclusive to PlayStation Plus subscribers until it becomes available for purchase in June. First person shooter Battlefield 5 and open world survival game Stranded Deep round out May 2021's PS Plus offerings. So, Wreckfest, Drive Hard, Die Last is a spiritual successor of Flat Out. If you're a fan of arcade racing with plenty of outrageous crashes, Wreckfest is definitely worth checking out. It includes a huge assortment of cars and tracks. The superb physics and collision systems create some of the game's best moments, but Wreckfest still has tight controls that reward smart driving over total recklessness. It earned a 9 out of 10 in our Wreckfest review. This freebie is only available for PS5, but if you don't have a new console yet, you can claim it to play at a later date. Hopefully, the PS5 restock situation improves soon. So that's the only one I'm going to explain because if you don't know what Battlefield 5 is, then I'm sorry. Stranded Deep is another one that I don't think you will
And what was
necessarily.
Stranded Deep?
Stranded Deep's a survival game. It's one.
Or is it gonna have an explanation the further down you scroll in the article?
Stranded Deep. It should. I know it had the one right there.
Oh, there you go.
So I have actually played Stranded Deep. It's a really fun survival game. It's the one I was talking to you about last week, where you start out on a plane and then you end up in a raft.
Oh,
So
okay. But
so
but not to be confused with Raft.
yeah, not to be confused with raft. So the raft is just kind of like a method of transportation throughout the islands in the area that you're
Right.
in. So you get on the raft and you go to your first island and then you start doing your survival game stuff. So, but in Stranded Deep, your plane goes down and you're forced to fend for yourself in the dangerous waters of the Pacific Ocean. You have to survive the elements by taking care of your body, crafting tools, building structures, and hunting for food. Stranded Deep has a procedurally generated world, so each island you explore is different. So I
Okay.
thought it's actually quite a fun game, and I'm honestly I should probably hook up my PlayStation so I can get these games because that's a good lineup for games that they're giving away this month.
Right. But
So
then again, you could just get Battlefield 5 if you have EA Pass or the Game Pass
mhm.
for Xbox.
Well, I think I've already got Battlefield 5 on the PlayStation though, but
Right.
like Stranded Deep and the Wreckfest, even though I can't play it on PlayStation 4, it does sound interesting. I do want to try it.
So 3 games coming to PlayStation 5. Sony needs to step up their game. But
So
um
with PlayStation, you also have the EA Pass because think I've got the EA. There's all kinds of little passes that you get just like the game.
Right.
So I've
All
got
these
one of
subscription
them.
services. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's another subscription service where you can go in and it's got this huge list of games that you can stream or download to your PlayStation and all that stuff. Yeah.
Right. Let's see. What do I have? Speaking of games, so there's been a lot of talks because Apex Legends, the new season is going to start this week, I want to say. And they've actually added a few new modes to it as well. Yeah, so they're adding a new arenas mode, which is like a 3v3 TDM. I guess, I mean, I don't know if you really call it TDM because there's like rounds to it, and I'm pretty sure like you only have like one life. So let's see. So it's offering on Monday. Yeah. Oh, this past Monday, Respawn revealed the new mode called Arenas, and it's going to be a permanent mode added to Apex that'll move it outside of the whole Battle Royale format. Arenas takes all characters, weapons, fantastic shooting mechanics from Apex Legends fans that are used to and fits them into a package that feels a little bit like a tactical shooter. So kind of think of like Siege without the objective of like attacking and defending, right?
Okay.
Or like maybe like a search and destroy type of game mode with like your common shooters now. So the mode, yeah, I mean, it did look interesting, but it does look like super salty, you know, like very, very, very try hard on like try to do stuff. And they added like some interesting mechanics. So the mode pits two teams of 3 against each other in a round-based competition. The only way to win a round is killed every member of the opposing team. Arenas matches take place on specifically designed maps, including a few repurposed ones from the popular spots and the levels that exist now. So at the beginning of the match, every player selects a legend to play, and then there's like a buy phase. So you have like a certain amount of points that you would buy like items and weapons with, right? Yeah, but unlike other games, like your inventory gets wiped after each round. So it's like spend your points wisely. So it's not like you're building up to get like each thing. It's like trying to save your points to get like the right amount of gear possible. Because it's like, yeah, you could get totally kitted out in like round 1, but then come round 2, I mean, all your stuff's gone, but also your points take a hit, so you can't get better gear for round 2. So there might be like a staging thing, like, well, oh, round 1, get like the bare essentials and try to get, you know, try to like stack your points early on in the game, and then like come, you know, round 3, the nail biter, where like you get like completely decked out.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that people will do that, or maybe they'll just be like a, you know, if there's actual good team communication, you'll have like one person on the team that actually gets completely kitted, and the other 2 have like their basic stuff as support. So everybody like takes turns. It might be a new dynamic that'll come to that, which isn't going to happen with like random people.
I'm sure there's going to be a meta that.
Oh yeah.
Out of it. So, wasn't Respawn? Isn't that was the company that like the original team from Treyarch? They got fired and they went and created Respawn.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Treyarch, but yeah, it was a group of people that worked on Call of Duty, right? I don't know if it was Treyarch. I don't know if it was Activision. I don't know. I'm almost definitely sure it wasn't Sledgehammer. That like branched off and wanted to do their own thing, and that's where Titanfall came out. The first Titanfall was Respawn, so it's like, and that was like part of the hype too. It was like, oh, from the creators of like Call of Duty, you know, and so yeah, and yeah, Titanfall and Titanfall 2, which I didn't pull up the article, but like thanks to Apex, like Titanfall 2 sales have been like skyrocketing because there was like rumors that like, oh, you're going to get a Titan in Apex because one of the characters is going to use one and all this other stuff. And so I mean, Titanfall games are good. I mean, I like them and they are really fun. But if you're not into like 4D type of shooters where like running, jumping, and like running on walls and like the whole verticality aspect of it, I mean, and it gets to be a little bit different. But like adding Titans to it, and there's also a meta for when it comes to Titans, and so sometimes it almost seems like, oh, I spend like all this time trying to get this Titan, and then like I just get wrecked, and then I don't have it anymore. So it's like, what's the point of even getting it? But yeah, I pretty much explained everything that was like in this article about it. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Set to go live May 4th. I did not cover that one. So
Okay, May 4th.
yeah. And then of course it's also like the new season, so it comes out with like I think they're revamping one of the original maps that are there. There's gonna be a new legend that like pretty much has like a rocket salvo that like can shoot at people. I mean, there's that, more cosmetics and different unlockables, just like every other season pass that ever comes out. Anyways, that's I only had like one thing for games. I mean, there's nothing really so far because I think like they're saving all like the game news and hype for E3, which should be this, if not this month, then like June or July. And I mean the expo, they can't really do the expo for the pandemic. I mean, they might. I mean, with everything capacity for like different places and events actually increasing, and I heard concerts are coming back, they might actually do it, but I believe it's going to be like a digital online thing for E3.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure like all the news is like going to be kept under wraps for a while until things get closer.
Yeah, and then we'll probably hear some pretty awesome stuff.
Right. Yeah, the summer tease to get you ready for fall when everything drops. Let's see, but I do have several things for like movies and TV. We've got, let's see. Oh, by the way, they're making a Dungeons and Dragons reboot. Which, if you didn't know, there used to be a Dungeons and Dragons game in the 90s. I want to say late 90s.
Like
it was horrible. Yeah, it was like, off of the tabletop, RPG. And it was horrible. it was bad. I think they had like what's his name? Marlon Wayans was a character as comedic relief, and they had like the kid from that played like Jimmy Olsen in like the Superman TV show, The New Adventures of Lois and Clark. And they had like Jeremy Irons overacting. Yeah, I mean, Jeremy Irons is like a great actor, but in that movie, he was like pretty much the only star power for that movie, definitely trying to sell it. But he was playing a character. So Dungeons and Dragons reboot has begun filming based on the popular tabletop role-playing game of the same name. Dungeons and Dragons have been adapted several times before. Oh, I only saw one. Let's see. The movie was announced in 2013. Wow. Talk about striking when the iron's hot. Announced in 2013. Filming starts 2021. By all means, that's not,
It was announced in 2013. They're not going to start filming until 2021.
Yep. Well, I mean, I'm sure they had like money to be best spent elsewhere.
All right, it's time to finally do this one now.
yeah. It's like, oh, I guess we're running out of ideas. You might as well get around to it. Announced in December 2020. Chris Pine from Star Trek is actually attached to it, apparently.
Okay.
As a lead role. Other big names have been revealed. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this game, but somebody from the show Bridgerton is going to be in the movie. And Michelle Rodriguez from Fast and Furious. And whoever Sophia Lillis is. Hugh Grant's also going to be attached, and Justice Smith has been added in some type of role. So yeah, they've got the clacker from the director, which, you know, nice little teaser if for anybody that's been attempting to follow this movie.
Now that we
logo's the same. Yeah,
talked about it, I do remember the first Dungeon Dragons. Like, I was excited about it because it was Dungeon Dragons movie, and I was like, this is probably going to be all right. And
yeah,
I remember it wasn't that great. I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't anything that I.
Yeah, maybe because you watched it in, like, you know, the eyes of a child, but
yeah,
I mean, it's not like, yeah, I saw like somebody was talking about it, and I saw like clips for it, and it's like it is not good. So wait, is it? Where is it?
But I've always been a pretty big fan of most medieval type movies, so it's like they had to be a really bad movie for me to not want to watch it.
Yeah, this movie. Don't even worry about that stuff. Yeah, Jeremy Irons being all weird. I've seen this dude before. I just can't remember where.
I don't know. Looks kind of like Nosferatu.
Yeah, I just can't remember. Is that Jeffrey Rush from the Pirates of the Caribbean? He played like Barbossa. Whoa! Now I need to know. No, not the new one. Show me the old one. Come on, do stuff. 2000.
Oh wow. A lot newer than that.
Let's see. Yeah, pretty much. Jeremy Irons, Bruce Payne, Torber. Yeah, look at this cast: Jeremy Irons, Bruce Payne, Justin Whalen, Marlon Whalen, Robert Miano. Yeah, so like 3 people, maybe. Yeah, who's this guy? Oh, he was in Highlander. This guy. Okay, so how do I get back that? What else was this guy in? Sorry, guys, I'm like going on like this whole segue for like this one guy. It's like just one of those things where it's like it's gonna bug me. It's like, all right, who is this guy that looks familiar that I know that I've seen somewhere? Yeah, I'm not gonna get into it, but anyways, yeah, moving right along. Yeah, let's do. Speaking of fantasy, HBO's got a new show, called Shadow and Bone, and apparently it embraces its fantasy better than Game of Thrones. Which Game of Thrones, I mean, it was like, you know, a medieval fantasy, but there's a lot of that doesn't focus that much on fantasy. You know, it's like if you took out the whole magic and dragons, it'd just be like, you know, alternate medieval, you know, political thriller. Essentially, and that's heavily what Game of Thrones was like a political thriller with like all the plotting.
That's pretty accurate, actually. Yeah,
right. Because I mean, you also thought, yeah, there's dragons, but like, you know, the budget to like make a CGI dragons like high, and people would like, you know, they would rip on the series for that, and it's like, oh, they keep on talking about these dragons, but they never show like the dragons. And it's like,
yeah, the dragons didn't really have a lot of parts in it for most of the, and like honestly, most of the series they didn't have very much part in the show, and then when they did come into kind of being paramount to the show, I was kind of underwhelmed with.
Yeah, but they're expensive, and it takes a lot of time to make CGI dragons, right? I mean, there goes a big chunk of your budget.
Yeah.
So, but then again, it also comes to the fact of like how many other like shows or series or like properties that have like a mystical beast, and then like they go really hard on like relying on that mystical beast to like be what's called like a MacGuffin, which is like an essential plot device, you know, and like they rely too heavily on it. So I mean, it was good that like the show still could have been great even without it, and so you add it to it and it makes it better, which is kind of like what you want to go for. But anyways, Netflix. Oh, is it Netflix? Yeah, Netflix's Shadow and Bone has received several comparisons to Game of Thrones. Okay, actually embraces its use of fantasy elements and the world's magic better than HBO's show ever did. But then we just talked about this. Like Game of Thrones wasn't very magic heavy. Based on a book trilogy, Shadow and Bone. It's just one of many attempts made by almost all networks and streamers over the past few years to find the next Game of Thrones. So yeah, so they're trying to make this the next Game of Thrones replacement. Then again, they also try to make Westworld the Game of Thrones replacement. But
Westworld wasn't a horrible show, but I watched a couple seasons of it and then just kind of fell off.
Right, but HBO went all in on it. They're like, okay, we're gonna do what was it? The limited run is like, yeah, Game of Thrones is gonna end. The last season's gonna have even less episodes. It's like they were done spending money on that show, right? Because they knew it was coming to an end, and then like you can only like extend the show out like so much, and HBO was just done. And it's like, okay, we need to find a replacement. And then Westworld was not it. I mean, not saying that it wasn't good or that it wasn't horrible, but it was not the replacement for Game of Thrones.
Yeah. And HBO's trying again to replace Game of Thrones by doing a spinoff of Game of Thrones. I guess it's supposed to take like 300 years before.
Right. Which, that's them admitting their mistake. Where it's like, well, we shouldn't have done that. I hope people still like Game of Thrones years after the last season.
Right.
Even though people are pissed off about it. Let's do a spinoff. And I was like, come on, man. You should have done a spinoff like a year, if not two, after the last season. But then again, when was the last season? I don't think it was like that far. No, it was like 2 years ago, maybe.
I think it might have been longer ago than that. I think it might be 3 or 4. But I think it was 2018.
Was it?
I think so.
Yeah, Googling. Season 8 release 2019.
2019? Okay.
Yeah. So okay, yeah. So it was 2 years ago. Because I remember like living in this apartment, and I remember like getting the trial version of HBO Max, I think it was called at the time. Is it Max or HBO Go at the time? And like just to watch like the final season. So yeah, I specifically remember doing that here. And then like I started to watch Deadwood, and I started to watch that new Chernobyl show, or like the limited Chernobyl show. Anyways, what was I getting at? Oh yeah, Shadow and Bone on Netflix. Netflix is already, so Netflix came out with The Witcher. But they need to have like, I think they're saving money on this one. I mean, a lot of stuff is going into their effects, but
I did actually, I think I've seen that on Netflix, and
right.
I was interested in it. I haven't watched it. It's out already, right? I either saw it being advertised,
I believe so,
that it's going to be released, or I've seen it in the Netflix, but I haven't actually watched it yet.
Okay.
The Witcher, I did actually, about a month ago, I watched the entire first season of The Witcher. I like that. I'm waiting for the next one to pop up.
Yeah, I think we'll get it. Oh yeah, I'll get into that. Or do I actually have an article? I want to say that like it's close to, it's either wrap shooting or like it's getting close, or they're filming. So Eventually, I think we're supposed to see it like next year. So if filming hasn't stopped, I mean, that would be like over 6 months for like editing and what do they call it? Post-production. So, okay. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Wow. 2 paragraphs of like introduction. Yeah. Game of Thrones never really fully embraced its fantasy story. Well, duh. We just talked about that because it's, it's cheaper to have, scenes of dialogue between like 2 actors. So, all right. So this article is just making a complete comparison. I thought there would have been at least like a section of this that talks about what it was. Oh, here we go. For all its similarities, Game of Thrones, Shadow and Bone's key distinction is perhaps how it treats the genre. Like Thrones, this is a fantasy story, but unlike Thrones, Shadow and Bones not only knows that, but uses it to full effect. I sometimes hate whoever writes these things up. Yeah, okay. It's heavy on fantasy, on the fantasy part. But it's like also not but see, like this whole article hasn't like explained what this show is, what it's about. But then again, it's not what this article is about. It's about the direct comparison between this and Game of Thrones. So anyways, so it is out because here it has the ending and final scene explained
in detail.
Yeah. So if somehow, me talking about this has piqued your interest in a show that you vaguely know nothing about, other than it does fantasy better than Game of Thrones. By all means, it's on Netflix. What else do we have?
Watch.
Right. Let's do. All right, I got 8 minutes left, so I'm going to get into this. So HBO is making a Green Lantern TV show, and it has cast. It's Guy Gardner. This guy from American Horror Story and Greg Berlanti from Arrow and the Flash is doing the Green Lantern show. Interesting. So Finn Wittrock is the play the heroic Guy Gardner. Never really liked him as a character. Although Warner Brothers indeed has spent the last several years trying to develop a new Green Lantern Corps movie, the immediate future of the superpowered space cops is that of the small screen, which is actually, in my opinion, a better platform for it.
It's not going to have Van Wilder in it?
No, because he's Deadpool. He's given that up. He's like, I tried. You guys screwed me over. I'm done.
Right.
Yeah, so it's going to consist of 10 1-hour-long episodes. It's going to be an anthology-style narrative that spans decades. Really? Some of the confirmed lanterns to appear in Green Lantern include Golden Age Green Lantern Alan Scott, which is the OG Green Lantern, and recent additions to the group's ranks like Simon Baz, Jessica Cruz, which are, I think, like one of the latest iterations of the Green Lantern. Reports HBO Max wants to start filming Green Lantern this summer. Series has finally found one of its lead actors, so they've cast him. Oh, that guy from American Horror Story is going to play this ginger guy. So not sure what they were thinking there. The report describes Gardner as hulking mask of masculinity, embodiment of 1980s hyper patriotism. That's okay. It's unknown how many episodes he will appear as Guy Gardner, and he's known for being in an American Horror Story. Yeah, but into the backstory of who he was. They said I'm not gonna get into the backstory because that's like way too nerdy for you guys, but so anybody that doesn't know anything about Green Lanterns and hasn't watched that horrible movie, think of it as like space cops with magical power rings that can like make stuff out of it. So,
And can't they actually like shift their own shape too with the ring?
it depends on like like what time period and what powers it has. But like, anyways, like this thing would not have been great as a movie in the first place because you've got like so many different Green Lanterns or space cops, as you call it, and they basically are because they protect like a certain sector of space which has planets or whatever, and keep law and order. And so to have all these different characters, it just makes more sense to do like an episodic, telling of a story. But back to how this is also related. Ryan Reynolds gives his cheeky response to Guy Gardner casting. Yeah, so that other guy from American Story is going to play this dude.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, I know who Ryan Reynolds is. You don't have to tell me. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, here we go. It's like I planned it. Oh, that's what he said. Nice. He posted this on his Instagram story. So how is this like how do they know that this is in regards to the casting of the other thing?
I can only assume because at the bottom of that image it has what looks like an article. Too.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I'm not.
So why would
It's like I planned it is kind of cryptic,
right? Which is funny because Ryan Reynolds posted on his social media like he went to a baseball game, and then like he got a hat from like one of the players, and it said like, "Oh, to Green Lantern," when he signed it.
It's like I can agree that the Green Lantern movie was pretty bad movie. Like Ryan Reynolds,
it was, yeah, but that movie in general is bad. So,
he's one of my favorite actors, and that couldn't even make it better.
Right. I mean, it comes down to, the script and like special effects and everything else that they did on it. I mean, there's parts of the movie which, feel very generic superhero-y, like going through the motions of it. But other than that, all right, I'm going to touch on this real quick. We don't have that much time, but we were talking about like different reboots and like different like old series, and Big Bang Theory's Melissa Ranch to star in a Night Court reboot. I think who was it the other week that mentioned Night Court? So, Night Court is going to be remade on NBC. I never watched Big Bang Theory. Sure, she's an amazing actress. Who knows what role she's willing to play? But I think that's all we got for time, guys.
Yep, it looks like we're about at the end there. So I was gonna say one other thing, also from Big Bang Theory, Miami Bialik or whatever her name is, she's got another show she's doing too.
Oh, another one?
Yeah, she's got another show. It's actually her sitcom.
Yeah, I heard about that one.
And did you know with her, she's actually a freaking neurologist in real life. Like she has a doctorate in real life.
Yes, I've heard that. Because I also saw like an interview where like somebody like came up to her and like asked her like a hypothetical question, and she was like, "No, I'm actually, I actually have a PhD." so.
But yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and roll it out. So thanks for watching. Thank you everyone for being here. Make sure you come back next week and watch us again. Come back on Friday. Listen to me then and be here in a half hour for our other show that we're going to be doing and watch that. Have a good weekend. We'll catch you later. Check out WO Entertainment, and it's been a time.
We'll see you guys
later.